Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, still listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is going on, Man Hour Nation? It's your boy, BC Beastie Brandon Combs, coming to you live on this Sunday night. Man, it's been another crazy week in the NFL season. We're going to get to that. We are going to talk a whole lot of football tonight. There is no baseball talk. There is no hockey talk. There is no time for anything else. It's going to be me and my man, my right-hand man, as Buck would say, the peanut butter to my women, Tori. What is going on, Tori?
The peanut butter to your women?
He said that the other night, and I was like, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, what the hell is the peanut butter to my women? And he's like, hey, you know, women need peanut butter. I don't know what it means, but it's Buck. So
okay, Buck. Thanks, I guess.
Yeah,
sure.
Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm sitting here now watching I got the Blackhawks on in the background. Will not be watching football because the Blackhawks are playing.
God, I can't even watch them. I can't even watch them right now.
Why? They've been playing well as of late.
Yeah, as of late. Like the first 7 games of the season were not great.
Yeah, I mean they started out the season 0-8 and 1. And they have now gotten to the point where I believe, did they win last night? I can't remember if they won last night.
No, they lost last night. I think they lost 3-2.
So they lost 5-2 to the Oilers. Oilers are good, man. But they
for as bad as the Oilers
so now
were for years, they
5-10
should be good now.
Yeah. So 5-10-2 after starting the season out 0-7-1. So it's not, I mean, you're turning it on a little bit. I was there for their first win of the season. I'll be back there again for Aubrey's birthday here in a couple weeks on December 7th. We're going back. So
well, you guys seem to be a good luck charm. So
hey, if that's the case, I guess that's my excuse to go get season tickets, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, come on, Michelle. We got to spend the money. We got to go get some Blackhawk season tickets. I mean,
oh, don't make me laugh. My stomach still hurts.
So you're dealing with some stuff in the area. Got an active shooter going on over there in Milwaukee. What's going on?
Yeah, there was a holiday parade going on over in Waukesha, and the cameras caught it. All I see this SUV go through the barricades, and I guess they started speeding up, started running people over, stopped, and opened fire on everybody.
Huh. So
I mean, it's all like literally right before we went on the air. All of a sudden, my phone starts going off. And I'm like, ruh-roh, well, what's this? And then it was like within 20 minutes. So, wow. Yeah.
That's crazy. So look, I live in Chicago, so every day there's an active shooter somewhere. Probably more than one. Actually, definitely more than one. But, you'll be all right. I mean, you got the blinds closed back there. When we first came on backstage, you had the lights off and everything. Like, you guys in Milwaukee get scared, man. Up here in Chicago, we go outside, look out the damn doors, sit on the porch, wait to see what the hell's going on. Turn on our police scanners, So
I don't listen to police scanner.
Michelle chimes in. She says we're getting Cub seat. Look,
I mean,
I'm telling you right now.
Are you making that kind of money?
I mean, we either won the lottery.
Right.
Or Michelle's trying to get married tomorrow. One of the two is going on right now. I don't know which one it is. Buck Heiser says that Andy Dalton is. Shut up, Buck.
But
shut up.
But Michelle said that's what they were saying earlier.
About the Blackhawks,
About
us being
that?
the Blackhawks
No,
good luck charm.
oh no, that
We were not saying that earlier. No, nobody said that earlier. I'm pretty sure she was talking about the Blackhawks good luck charm when she said that.
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. They are not better. See, look, she said I read that wrong.
No, that's called backtracking.
Yeah,
she just doesn't want to admit it.
That's just that's bad stuff. But anyway, look, man, we had a lot of stuff going on in the NFL today. A lot of crazy stuff. Again, man, I saw a stat that the playoff teams in playoff positions in the last 2 weeks heading into this week were 4-9 in the last 2 weeks. Isn't that insane?
I believe that.
It's
like literally like every like heavyweight in the NFC lost today.
Have we ever seen parity like we do right now in the NFL? Is that what we're seeing?
I think so, but we've been seeing it for the last 20 years. And that's why I wish every league would be able to emulate what football does, because it really does bring parity to the league. Like everybody's got the same playing field. So, that's the one thing I like it. I know baseball will fight tooth and nail against ever having a hard cap. And that's as much as
they might have one after the CBA is up on December 1st.
This is also true because we said we weren't going to talk baseball, but that lockout is looming.
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, I'm always willing to talk baseball. We could always go off strip. I mean, we're live, raw, and uncut. So if you want to go off script, we can certainly do so. But look, the NFL right now, with everything that we're seeing, with all the teams that week to week, minus the Detroit Lions, that have a chance to win football games, is really uncanny. I mean, anybody in the chat that's listening right now, if you had the Tennessee Titans losing to the Houston Texans today, let me know. Because if you had that pick, then you know way more than anybody that I know, because I don't understand it. I don't understand. Then you've got what was it too? What the Indianapolis Colts did to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you picked the Colts to shellac the Bills today,
So there's a lot of stuff going on in the NFL, but first thing I want to get to, which is what the title of the show is about, was I just finished watching this game. Kansas City Chiefs beat the Dallas Cowboys today, and they look really, really good. They look really, really good. Are they back to their championship form?
Not yet, because the offense still just isn't clicking on all cylinders. However, you're a really good team when you cannot click on all cylinders and beat another really, really good team. You're like, it's kind of like they ho-hum their way through the game, and the defense says, offense, we got you this game. Like, I hate to say it's Chiefs football the way it's been the last 3 years. It's just kind of like, we'll just do what we need to do. Drew Times in saying, Drew, I'm not talking to you after that post you put on Facebook.
Uh-oh. What do you put on Facebook? What I missed?
#Skol.
Oh,
I mean, so now he's up to like 31 out of the 32 NFL teams.
Look, we're gonna get into your Packers here in a little while. I got some questions about your Packers, but the Kansas City Chiefs, with what they did going, it's one of those where I'm not sure if this was Kansas City making a statement that they're back, or if it was more of just Kansas City's, and I've said this before, Kansas City's probably one of the toughest places in the NFL to go in and win. No matter how good you are, no matter how bad they are, it's one of the hardest places to go get a victory on the road. And if this game is played in Dallas, do you think there's a different outcome?
No, because it's still a Mike McCarthy coach Dallas team that's going to implode.
I really don't. Mike McCarthy coach Dallas team that was 7-2 heading into the day, and now they're 7-3. Well, yeah, they were 7-2 heading into the day. Now they're 7-3.
Are they? Yeah, but they've lost. Have they lost the last 2 games now?
I believe so. I believe they lost last week as well. No, they did not. They beat the Falcons last week. They lost the week
Oh, that's
before
right.
to Denver.
Denver, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't it's just my thing is it's typical Chiefs football. The defense sleepwalks through the first month and a half of the season. Like, oh my God, the Chiefs are terrible. They're over. And then all of a sudden the defense is like, all right, I guess we'll start playing. The offense is like, well, we're still trying to find a good rhythm. The Chiefs treat the NFL regular season like regular NBA teams treat the regular season that make the playoffs every year. They're like, we'll turn it on when it gets closer to the playoffs and start getting ready for that.
The one person who did make it out of this with a win no matter what was Buck, because his Chiefs beat his Cowboys. But if it was the other way around, he would have been able to say, the Cowboys, who I picked to be good, I told you they were good, walk into Kansas City and beat. So no matter what, Buck won today, right? Because it was just going to be a win for him no matter what. The
only time we'll ever say Buck would have been right no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, look, Cowboys fans aren't worried because they're Cowboys fans, and no matter how bad they are or how much they lose by or how bad they look on any given week, they always feel like they're still the team to beat because they're Cowboys fans. They haven't won nothing since 1995, but they're still the team to beat. So was this more of a bad loss for the Cowboys, or was this just one of those, hey, look, we went into Kansas City, we gave them our best go, and they were just better than us today, any given Sunday?
The thing is the Cowboys look like a way better team than they are based off the division they play in.
Yeah.
I mean, the only serious contender they got right now is every single week improving Philadelphia Eagles team. Like that Philadelphia Eagles team, maybe not so much this year, but next year, they're still probably going to be a borderline playoff team, but they're going to be that team that says we're just going to punch everybody in the mouth because we don't care. So pretty much just like Philadelphia fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't disagree with you. I
think Dallas is just more of a product of the division they play in right now.
See, I kind of agree with you, but I kind of disagree with you. I look at the Dallas Cowboys as one of those teams that has so much talent that they can be a top 5 team in the league. I said they were fifth. I said they were the 5th best team in the NFC heading in when Buck asked me last week. And you talk about them winning in the division, but they beat the Chargers in LA. They beat the Patriots in New England. So this isn't just a product of that. They've also beaten teams outside of the division. They beat Carolina. They beat the Vikings. They beat the Patriots. They beat the Panthers. So they've won some games outside of their division as well. As a matter of fact, their only 3 losses have come from outside of their division. So I get what you're saying to a point, but I still think that this is a very talented team. They've got the Raiders next week. They should win that game. They've got the depleted Saints. They should win that game. Then they get Washington, the Giants, and Washington back-to-back. They should win those games, rightfully so. They should probably be about, 12-3 heading into that game against the Cardinals in week 17.
Could be.
Because I don't see it. Do you see any team in their division beating them? I mean, I don't see Washington beating them. And
Philadelphia could possibly give them a run, just because it's a team. That team is so young right now that they're learning. So they could come out and punch them in the mouth, or they could
they don't play them to week 18.
Stomped. Right?
Yeah, they don't play them to week 18. They lost by 20 earlier in the season.
And I said last week that I think potentially the Eagles could end up 9-8.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, we're definitely going to talk about the Eagles a little bit more. I could definitely see the Eagles at 9-8. I think that every week they show that they're improving. I think too that the Chiefs right now, as we just had the Tori, don't feel bad. My Saints got my Saints.
Drew, if you have not been paying attention to the Eagles the last 3 weeks, it's a team figuring shit out.
Yeah. And they're looking good. Look, Jalen Hurts looked really good today.
I'm still not sold on him, but he keeps making it. He's Mac Jones in me. He's making it really hard on me to not run my mouth about him.
Yeah. And so you've got I mean, Mac Jones is now leading his division with the Buffalo Bills loss today, but we'll get to that in a few minutes.
Wayne was quick to point that out.
Oh yeah, he was. The Kansas City Chiefs are now 7-4. Okay, and they started out the season. Everybody was down on them. They were, I believe, they were 3-4 or 2-4 or something like that. And now all of a sudden they're 7-4. Will the Chiefs lose another game this season?
Yeah, absolutely, they will. They'll lose one or two more. You know, it's the way of the world. Not every team. You're not going to win every single game. I mean, there's only been 2 teams in the regular season have ever done it. So,
yep. Well, let's look at their schedule. Right? They've got the Broncos, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Broncos. They'll probably lose one of those Broncos games, right?
Yeah, they're getting division opponents always hard because you know each other so well.
Yeah. And the Raiders have always had their number. And I picked them against the Raiders in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. And Kansas City just stomped the Raiders.
Well, so I thought that was their kind of get right game.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay, the offense is going to start clicking, but there again, the offense still kind of had clunks to it today. But there again, if you're a solid football team, you are going to figure out ways to win those games. So
yeah, and look, I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs, people talked about them being down, being out, and I don't know. I don't know that you can ever count this team out. And I don't want to compare them, but you know, I almost feel like Patrick Mahomes, you can't bet against, just like you can't bet against Tom Brady.
Right.
And it's not comparing them as their career. So people don't start atting me and going crazy. I can't believe you just compare. I'm not comparing them. He's just that type of special. Patrick Mahomes is just that type of special that I don't know that I would bet against him much in the same way I don't bet against Tom Brady. It's just not a smart bet.
Well, and if you remember back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were really good, when Gruden was there, every single year they struggled. They would start off like 1-3 every year, and everybody would bury them every year, and they'd like end up going like, 12-4 or like 13-3. Like, it's like, okay, they just ran off because their teams were that good. If for whatever reason the Chiefs are built like that, they're just super slow sometimes to get going. But there again, like I said, good football teams know how to win bad football games. And that's what they did. They played a bad football game today and still won against a very good football team.
Oh boy. Drew says, my Chiefs and Cards won today. Saints lost. Steelers ? My Chiefs, my Cards, my Saints, my
Vikings.
Drew, you sound a lot like my first ex-wife, man. You got a lot of lovers. You got a lot of people you're involved with, man. Holy
Drew,
moly.
How'd them Cornhuskers do Saturday?
Oh boy, he's a Cornhusker fan too?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought he was never mind. Anyway, Chiefs and Cowboys. Who's got the better chance of playing on Super Bowl Sunday?
Ooh. The Chiefs. You have to say the Chiefs. Mahomes has been to the last 2 Super Bowls. He was to the AFC title game the year before that. I mean, your smart money would be to put it on the Chiefs. Again, a very good veteran head coach that consistently knows how to get teams to win. So give me the Chiefs all day long.
I you look at the standings in the AFC, and you've got the Tennessee Titans, who, I mean, just got embarrassed today with that loss against Houston. Then you got the Ravens, who didn't look so hot today, but also didn't have Lamar Jackson against the Chicago Bears, but they still got the win. Then you got the New England Patriots, who every week make a believer out of me. I have to see them over the next 4 weeks. This is really going to be their telling. I keep saying that they haven't, their wins to me aren't really head turners. You know what I mean? They're a 7-4 team that doesn't really turn the needle for me just yet. But their next 4 weeks against I believe it's the Titans, the Bills, the Colts, and the Bills again, is really going to tell the story of how good this New England team is. And then you've got the Kansas City Chiefs right behind them. So out of those 4 teams, I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs. And then when you go over to the NFC side of things, obviously you've got the Arizona Cardinals sitting there at number 1, and to me they're the best team in the NFC. Then you got the Packers, then the Cowboys and the Rams are sitting there at 7-3, and you got the Buccaneers at 6-3, right? They play tomorrow night against the New York Giants. Expect them to be 7-3, but you don't know.
Let's just say they're 7-3.
Well, yeah, but
after
who's
watching
Tom Brady's
football
Achilles
today,
heel? Yeah, who's Tom Brady's Achilles heel though? The New York Giants,
True.
right? I mean, he doesn't play well against New York Giants, at least not in Super Bowls anyway. So you look at the Cowboys, and to me, out of those teams, they're not better than Arizona. They're not better than Green Bay. They're not better than the Rams, and they're not better than Tampa Bay. So to me, right off the bat, I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs as well. Like I don't see the Cowboys in order for the Cowboys to get to the Super Bowl, the gauntlet they're going to have to run in the NFC to me is just, I mean, they're going to need some teams to get upset in the first couple of rounds. They're going to need some players to go down. I mean, what the Arizona Cardinals are doing right now to me is impressive with Colt McCoy. I mean,
he's what, 3-0 now is the
starter? You're winning with Colt McCoy. And you're winning these games, and you still don't have, like, you just went into Seattle and won a game. DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray were on the bench. Like, and if you're doing that, what are you going to do when they come back? Like, I just, to me,
but is that more indicative of how good they are or how bad Seattle is playing right now? Because
I think it's more indicative of how good they are. I mean, look, I've been on that Cardinals bandwagon all year long. I was on it preseason as well. I picked them to be 15-2. I thought this was a really, really good football team. And every week they proved me right. Like I thought, I was like, man, Murray and Hopkins go down. Okay, so we're looking at probably about 3 out of the next 4 games are going to be losses. And instead, 3 out of the next 4 games are wins. And now all of a sudden they're sitting at 9-2 going into a bye week. And then they're going to be getting Murray and Hopkins back. So
thank God, because my fantasy team's hurting.
Oh, dude, mine too. I started out one of my leagues. I was 8-0. Now all of a sudden I'm 8-2 and about to be 8-3.
I started off. I was 7-0, and then I lost, and then I won, and I'm lost last week, and I am about to lose this week.
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, it's been a roller coaster of a ride. I looked at my my bench today, and all of my guys on my bench were out.
Well, that's mine. Jamal Williams out, Kareem Hunt out, Darrell Henderson bye, D-Hop out, Cordero Patterson out, Rams defense on bye.
It's insane.
It's insane. 0 points on my bench.
Yeah, and
I had to start Deontay Foreman from the Titans today.
Yeah. I think who was my? I had to put in. That's what I had DeAndre Hopkins, so I had Allen Robinson in there, and then Allen Robinson gets sick. So now all of a sudden Allen Robinson, I'm like, oh my God, like I've got nobody. I had to go pick up somebody frantically off the waiver wire. I never heard of the guy in my life, and he scored 0.3 points. Like I was just like, oh, that didn't really work out too well, now did it? But that's fantasy football, I guess, right? Let's get to the.
All I care about is making the playoffs. I'm like the NBA. Just get me to the playoffs. I'll do the rest.
Yeah, it's been bad. Michelle says, "Hey, Drew." Drew says, "Come down to last play, buddy. You almost lost."
No, we did not.
Who?
The Nebraska-Wisconsin game.
Oh. It's Nebraska-Wisconsin. Nobody cares outside of Nebraska or Wisconsin about that game.
We are the best 3-loss team in the country.
Congratulations.
Right. The fact that the college football playoff stuff, when it came out 2 weeks ago, had Wisconsin ranked, I even looked at it and said, what?
Yeah. How? Don't even get me started on the way college football. I mean, college football is just, there is no way that
it's high school. It's a popularity contest. It's all
there is no way.
Are you the prettiest person? Okay, you can be on top.
Yeah, and there is no way that it's not a that you can ever get me to believe that there's not a bias. There is no reason why Alabama should be ranked ahead of Ohio State right now. There's no reason why Alabama should be ranked ahead of Cincinnati right now. There's no reason why Alabama should be ranked ahead of, a lot of these one-loss teams because of who's Alabama's one-loss came against. And then they tried bumping them up. Oh, well, Texas A&M, we're going to bump them all the way up. But they were unranked, and then they beat Alabama. Now, oh, wait, never mind. They're good. So next week they're going to be 23, and then the week after that they're going to jump up to 13. And then they went out and got beat by Ole Miss this weekend. So, and Alabama still sits at number 2 because they beat New Mexico State. Well, no shit.
Right?
God, I hate college. It just drives me nuts.
They got to come up with a better system. They have to. Because literally, that's all it is. So, and it's other teams. So, other teams get penalized for not winning by enough.
Yeah.
You were 17 this week and you played Georgia Southern and you had a 35-point spread, but you only beat them by 30 points. That's not that impressive.
So in college football, you've got the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, and
Big
let's
12.
say the Big 12, all right? So you take those, if you take those 4 conferences right there, take the top 2 teams from those conferences every year, let them play a championship game if you want to, and whoever wins gets their conference championship. But take the top 2 teams from each conference and throw them into an 18 playoff. That's how you settle the playoff dispute. That's how you settle the rankings dispute, because then look, it goes by win-loss just like anything else. You play your divisions, you play against your teams. And I would almost venture to say that, look, you only get 2 out of conference schedule, and those out of conference schedules have to come against one of those other Big 4 conferences. You don't get to play New Mexico State.
You can't do that though, because a lot of the smaller schools, that's where they make their money for their university to upgrade stuff, is playing somebody like that. So I guarantee you, New Mexico State playing Alabama probably got $750,000 for the university.
Well, I mean, then every once in a while you get those upsets. Like you got Florida State, who paid a team $1 million this year to come into Florida State and whoop their candy asses all over the field. But
doesn't everybody do that to Florida State lately?
Right. But you're not looking for a team like Mercer to come into Alabama and beat Alabama. That's never going to happen. But 1 out of every 100,000 times will that happen.
Or Appalachian State versus Michigan,
yeah,
when they were an FCS school. Right.
It just doesn't. It drives me insane, the schedules that they allow these teams to play in college football.
Yeah.
You look at a team like Alabama, right? So I'm looking at their schedule, all right? So they beat Miami, which, was an okay win. Everybody always overrates Miami at the beginning of the year. They were ranked 14th at the beginning of the year. They beat them. Then they beat Mercer 48-14. Then they had a good win against a Florida team, 31-29. Then they beat
who just fired their coach.
Yeah. Then they beat I can't even. This was St. Mary or something like that. Then they beat Ole Miss. Then they lose to Texas A&M. But since then, they've beat Mississippi State, Tennessee, LSU, New Mexico State, and Arkansas.
And barely beat Arkansas.
Yeah, I just don't understand how you can look at that team over a team like Cincinnati's still undefeated. So for them to be outside the college football playoff, to me is
ridiculous.
Beyond
because they're a mid-major. It's because they're a mid-major, and they got to get rid of that mid-major bias,
right? And it absolutely positively drives me nuts. Look, I'm a Notre Dame guy. Do I believe that Notre Dame is a top 5 team in the country, like they've got them ranked in the AP poll? No, I do not. I don't think that Notre Dame, if you put them in a game against a Georgia or Ohio State, or even as they've already proved, a game against a team like Cincinnati, they're going to prove that they don't belong there. So I love Notre Dame. I'm not a big believer into what Brian Kelly brings to the table. I'm just not. And he's proven it time and time again in bowl games. But teams like Michigan, Michigan State, Cincinnati, Ohio State, Georgia, all of those teams should be ranked ahead of Alabama right now.
I don't know. Did you see what happened to Michigan State against Ohio State this weekend?
Yeah, but look, it was against Ohio State. Look, I will take that loss from Michigan State against the number 2 team in the country versus the Alabama loss versus an unranked Texas A&M team who now has 3 losses any day of the week.
Yeah.
It's a much better loss than Alabama's loss has been all year round. Even Notre Dame with their 1 loss, I just said that I don't believe they're a contender. They should be ranked ahead of Alabama right now. Their 1 loss came against undefeated Cincinnati.
Right. But that's what I'm talking about too, that there's that bias too, that in Alabama can lose a game and we'll bump them down to 5. Where now Oklahoma struggled and lost their game and went from 4 to like 13.
And the same thing will happen here this weekend if they lose the Iron Bowl. If they lose to Auburn, they'll drop down to like number 6, maybe number 7. All right. They'll win the SEC championship game. And then all of a sudden they'll be ranked number 4.
They're going to beat Georgia? You think you're going to beat? They're going to beat Georgia?
I'm just saying. I don't know that I really like Georgia. I think Georgia is really good. But if they beat Georgia in the SEC title game, they'll jump right back into the college football playoff.
Oh yeah, but they could have 2. They could have 2 losses and make it.
And that's insane. That's insane. A 2-loss Alabama is not better than Michigan. They're not better than Michigan State. They're not better than Georgia. They're not better than Cincinnati. But they're still going to find a way to put them in. But anyway, we went off on a little tangent there. We're going to go ahead and get to our first break. And when we come back, we will get into some more NFL. Stay with us. We will be right back. And we are back. It's your boy Beastie Brandon Combs and Tori. What is going on, buddy? Tori, we gotta come up with a good nickname for you, like Beastie. We gotta get some merch going. We gotta get a good nickname for you.
Fat ass? I don't
know. Fat ass Tori merch coming soon. Coming soon.
Make white ass cheese butts and be like, here you go, fat ass.
Oh man. All right. Speaking of fat asses, I just did a buck thing there. The Buffalo Bills get their doors blown off.
I was gonna say that fell flat on their ass.
Yeah. Yeah. They get beat up by the Indianapolis Colts. What is wrong with Buffalo right now?
A product of being in their own head. At that point, it seems like they could be that team this year that read too many paper clippings about themselves and said, okay, so everybody says we're that good, so we're just going to be that good every week.
Yeah.
Like at that point, that's what it seems like to me. Right now, they're in their own head. They're not playing good football, and it's because they're like, everybody said we were supposed to be good, so we're just going to be good. I will tell you the big thing for me, and not only because he's just because he's on my fantasy team, Stephon Diggs has taken a back seat in that offense this year. He's only got like 2 touchdowns.
Oh yeah, 2 today.
Today he did have 2.
Yeah.
So, but I don't get it. Like it seems like they have keyed in on Cole Beasley and the other guy, I can't think of his name, Davis.
Now, I've watched a couple of Bills games. Is Diggs getting double teamed? Is he getting taken out of schemes? Is he, because that would be my strategy too going into it. As we're going to shut down Diggs and we're going to make the rest of the team beat us. But the Bills have to find a way to do that. I mean, this defense, the way this defense had played, I mean, we're talking about a team that had only given up 20 points or more twice this season. Just went out and gave up 41 to the Colts and let Jonathan Taylor put the ball in the end zone 5 times.
From the University of Wisconsin.
And then the offense, who was scoring at a phenomenal clip through most of this season, and the last 4 weeks have scored 26, 9. They did put up 45 last week, but it was against the Jets, and then 15.
Yeah.
Like this team all the way around, defense and offense, is just struggling right now. And to me, it's mind-boggling. And the New England Patriots have taken advantage of this struggle of the Buffalo Bills and have now taken control of this division. Are the Buffalo Bills in trouble of losing this division?
Yes, absolutely they are. The way they've been playing, and like I said, quicksand. You get inside your own head. You can't get out. The harder you try, the more you sink. And that's where I think they are right now. They need to get back to being who they were at the beginning of the year. A dominant, very well-balanced football team. They're falling into that Kansas City trap earlier in the year. They're not running the ball. They can't run the ball. They're like, we're just going to chuck it 85 times a game. Without that running game, you become one-dimensional. It makes for game planning against you that much easier because if you're not worried about the run, neither is the other team.
Right. And I mean, you look at the Bills. I said the Patriots' next 4 weeks is really going to determine the tale for them, right? The Buffalo Bills' next 4 weeks are the Saints, the Patriots, the Buccaneers, the Panthers. That for me is, I mean, you have to go 3-1 in that 4-week stretch.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to beat the Saints. You've got to go out next Sunday night and just absolutely Thursday night and dominate the Saints on Thanksgiving night. You have to.
I think honestly, I think they will because you're going to get a pissed off Buffalo team coming in.
Yeah, but this is in New Orleans, and this is a very good Saints defense. I get you're playing against Trevor Siemian, but this is still a very good Saints defense that can shut you down. And when you're struggling all offensively, a good defense will find a way to continue your struggles. So they need to go in there and absolutely dominate the New Orleans Saints. I just don't know that they will, because if you don't win this week and you let the Patriots take a 2-game advantage on you, heading into that game against New England the following week on Monday Night Football, that's really going to put your team in a bad position. Your backs are going to be up against the wall because if you lose that game, the division's all but over already.
Hell, the playoffs might be out of reach by then for you. The way the AFC is shaping up right now.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be 7-6 at that point if you lose to the Saints and then lose to the.
You would fall back to out of the playoffs. You'd be in the hunt, but fall out of right now with the Bills lost today. They went from like the 3 seed to the 7 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what's going on in Buffalo. I'm a little concerned about what's going on there. I don't know if they can right the ship, but they have to do it quickly, because if they don't, they're going to find themselves in a world of hurt before they can even blink. Now let's look at the other side of the ball, though. The Indianapolis Colts. They are now 6-5. They're 2 games behind the Tennessee Titans, who lost to the Houston Texans today. Can the Indianapolis Colts find a way to A, win the division, or B, sneak into the playoffs as a wildcard team?
It's a team finding its groove, so they could get dangerous here. So I think the division's out of question. I don't care who you are. 3-game leads, even at this point in the season.
It's only a 2-game lead.
But now but it was a 3-game lead going in today.
Yeah.
Still a 2-game. That's still a tough lead to overcome unless the other team completely implodes.
I mean, you look at the Colts next, the rest of the remaining schedule is the Buccaneers, the Texans, the Patriots, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Jaguars.
Oof. That's a mixed bag.
Tennessee has a really, really not tough schedule the rest of the way. With their schedule here, the Tennessee Titans the rest of the way they do have the Patriots this week, but then they get the Jaguars, the Steelers, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Texans.
Yeah.
So
there's no way the Colts win the division.
Yeah, I don't think there is either. I think the Colts are 9 wins would be a really good season for the Colts because of the way that they started out the season. I think that 9 wins, you would have recovered really well. You can build on that towards next year. I don't see.
For the record, I had them going 9-8.
Except I
had them winning the division at 9-8.
Oh, really? Yeah, you know what? I think I had them winning the division at 9-8 as well.
Because I had the Titans right there, but at 8-9. Yeah. Because I thought the Titans would take a big step back this year.
Yeah, I was right there with you. I remember we were pretty on point with most of our picks. I'm checking my picks right now. I had them at 10 wins. And winning the division. So, I just don't envision it with the Colts. What they did today was impressive. Because it was against a very good team, but it was against a very good team that kind of lost themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
You'd have to really continue beating really good teams the rest of the way to hit 11 or 12 wins and win this division, because that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. I think the Titans will probably beat the Patriots this week. And then the remaining schedule, I don't see, if the Titans beat the Patriots this week, I don't think the Titans lose another game this season. I think they finish at 13-4. Unless they lose week 18 because they're just resting everybody.
Yeah.
And that's against Houston, so you could probably rest everybody and still win.
I don't know. Houston won today, so
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We can't talk too much smack that they came out and punched Tennessee in the face today and took them down.
They did. So I don't know. There's a lot of things going on, and one of the teams that I want to talk about here, or maybe I don't want to talk about them, but the Baltimore Ravens beat the Chicago Bears today in Soldier Field. It was a last-second drive. Well, I wouldn't say last second. There were still 22 seconds left on the clock when they gave the Bears the ball back. And then, Andy Dalton missed every receiver he threw to by 75 yards. But the Baltimore Ravens, the way Huntley looked on that final drive was pretty impressive, because for all their faults that they have on offense, for all the problems with the play calling and all the problems that I have with Matt Nagy, which I promise you I'm going to get to in a second, their defense is really the heart and core of that team. And that rookie just went down and led them down the field. Now that pass interference call at the beginning of that drive, which the guy wasn't within 3 yards of the receiver. There was no contact made the entire way. The ball was overthrown by 12 yards, and they still threw a flag for pass interference, is beyond me.
Let's just get this out of the way, since the NFL can't find us. The refs in all games were terrible today.
They're terrible all the way around. I posted a picture of their mascot earlier. It's Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poop. That is the NFL referees mascot from here on out because they are terrible. Refereeing in the NFL is the absolute worst across professional sports, period, and it's not even close. But that being said, the way that Huntley poised himself after that pass interference call and led them down the field to that game-winning touchdown was impressive to me. Was it impressive to you?
I think so, especially being a rookie making your first start. Coming in, having to do what he did. Granted, there again, it's not a very good Bears team. However, you're still making your first start. And you came in, but you've done that your whole life where, okay, I've had to do this. I've been through this situation before. However, against an NFL caliber defense, which the Bears defense is not terrible. I mean, obviously losing Mac for the season kind of hurt, but they're still not a terrible defense.
Well, I mean, Robert Quinn stepped it up to him, and Robert Quinn was all over the field today. I mean, every time that Huntley tried to roll out, Robert Quinn was chasing him down. I mean, he was a madman today. So you've got a guy, you've got pass rushers, you've still got Roquan Smith, you've still got the guys in the secondary, you've still got pass rushers that you can depend on that can go out there and still do those things. So the Bears defense and what they were still able to put on the field, even without Khalil Mack, that's still extremely impressive.
Absolutely. And there again, I give Huntley all the credit in the world. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, is that probably going to happen? Probably not, though. I will say he played poised. He played within himself. He didn't try to go outside himself, and that obviously helped him. But there again, that's to me, in my mind, that's one of those things that 9 times out of 10 probably isn't happening.
Yeah, I mean, you had a couple of blown coverages there on that drive as well, which, I don't know how you allow that to happen on a 2-minute drive in the fourth quarter with the game on the line. I don't know how you can possibly blow coverage at that point in the game, but it is what it is.
I'm going to say that probably may have taken Matt Nagy out of the Coach of the Year consideration.
How does Matt Nagy still have a freaking job?
That was a great segue for me to just get you fired up.
How does he still have a job? This man...
Michelle, get 911 on the line just in case.
This man, on 3rd and short, decides to throw a 40-yard go route, which misses and brings it down to 4th and short, and then brings out the punt unit. If it is 3rd and short and you're throwing a 40-yard go route and you're in your own territory, I'm sorry, you're in the other team's territory in field goal range, not field goal range, but just outside of field goal range, and you go that, you have to go for it on 4th down. Otherwise, what are you doing throwing a 40-yard go route on 3rd and 1? And instead, he brought out the punt team.
That's watching the Mike McCarthy school of coaching, because McCarthy is notorious for having a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and short and doing like a 45-yard chuck down the field. He do all the time in Green Bay, which drove me nuts.
I just don't get it. I don't understand what the hell he's doing sometimes. I don't understand the play calling. I don't understand for the life of me what Matt Nagy is thinking sometimes when he does some of the things that he does. I don't get it. And then people and it drove. Oh my God! All of a sudden, Bears fans were chanting for Andy Dalton today because Fields got hurt, and then Andy Dalton came in, and on 2 passes they scored a touchdown. 1 pass was a 20-yard pass to the tight end, and then on the next pass was a 10-yard out route to Darnell Mooney. Both defenders collided with each other, and Mooney got a free break at the end zone, 60-something yard touchdown pass, right? And now all of a sudden the fans are chanting Andy's name. And I'm like, well, what are we doing? What is going on in Chicago right now? And then after that, he just proceeds. I mean, like he was terrible. He was just god awful. I mean, he can't hit a receiver that is further than 8 yards downfield. in his shot. He just can't. He overthrows everybody, underthrow, like whatever he does, he does it poorly. And it's just bad. And watching him with 22 seconds left, you're trying to throw a couple of routes out to the sidelines to get downfield, maybe try to get yourself in field goal position to try to tie the game. And I mean, he's missing guys like by a mile. I mean, it's not even close. The Bears had no chance. But to me, like that game is lost when Matt Nagy goes right after and now I think right after he tries to punt the ball after throwing that go route, they call a timeout and he's all frantic on the sidelines like his headset isn't working, like he didn't tell the punt team to go out on the field, right? So then they decide to go for it because the whole crowd is booing. Nobody can understand what the hell he's doing. So then he sends the guys out there to go for it. And what does he do with an offensive line that can't stop anybody from getting to their damn quarterback? He lines up in a freaking wildcat formation with the running back to try to run it straight up the middle. They can't pass protect for your quarterback. What makes you think they're going to be able to protect for your running back? What kind of sense does that make whatsoever? They know what you're doing. You're not lining freaking... There's no way you're putting Montgomery back there to throw a pass. You don't even have anybody else in the backfield with him to make it an option play. So everybody on the field knows what you're doing. I don't understand how this man still has a job. I just don't get it. And now we've got Justin Fields who's injured. So let me ask you a question real quick, Tori. If Justin Fields is out for 2 to 4 weeks, it looked like a rib injury when he went out, and let's say he's got some broken ribs. Say he's out for 2 to 4 weeks. Do you just sit Justin Fields the rest of this season?
I would protect your investment. You're not going anywhere. Protect your investment. Save him for whoever your next head coach is going to be that won't screw him up.
Yeah, I look.
I'm going to tell you right now.
It was all about playing this kid.
Ryan Pace is going to be there still next year.
No, he's not. There's no way.
I'm telling you right now.
There is no way you're letting Ryan Pace hire another head coach. There's if they, I'm telling you right now, Tori, as God is my witness, if Ryan Pace is still the Chicago Bears GM next year, I will wear Packers gear all season long.
All season long, gear, buddy.
There is no way on earth that any team, any owner, not even Virginia McCaskey, could be so stupid as to let this man hire another head coach. You can't.
I'm telling you. The thing is, he drafted well. He's made some good moves.
If that's the case, you might as well trade Justin Fields because you're ruining this kid's career. Because if you allow him to hire another head coach and then that head coach comes in, if that head coach doesn't work, you're going to fire Ryan Pace then. And then that new GM is going to want to hire another head coach. And you're going to have another freaking head coach and another offensive coordinator for your rookie quarterback who you just brought in. Like you, at that point, you might as well allow Justin Fields to go somewhere else and be as good as he's going to be because he's not going to be that with the Chicago Bears because you're not going to allow it. If Ryan Pace still has a job next year, I swear to God, I'm telling you, I'm climbing a bell tower.
I hate to break it to you, buddy. He's going to be the GM. You'll have a new coach, but Ryan Pace will still be your GM.
I can't imagine.
As Drew says, better invest in green and gold.
Yeah, but Drew also said, "What's the point in firing him midseason?" What do you mean? What's the point in firing him midseason? You allow somebody else to come in with your rookie quarterback, and maybe allow somebody else who can come in and have some actual, play calling that makes sense, that allows your rookie quarterback to thrive and to develop. Now, that doesn't have to be the guy that you're moving forward with, but at least gives them another look because this guy for sure, 100% certain, Matt Nagy is not the guy that can develop Justin Fields. So you get him out of the picture right away. That's the point in firing him midseason. Because even if the interim guy comes in, at the worst case scenario, the interim guy comes in and it's still a failed season. Worst case scenario. But you already know 100% that that's going to happen with Matt Nagy there. You already know that.
You're going to have to bring in somebody else. You're still running the same offense, though.
Why are you running the same? Yes, you are running the same offense, but the play calling will be much different. I guarantee, because nobody is that bad at it other than Matt Nagy. There's nobody in the history of human mankind that is worse at play calling than Matt Nagy. Nobody.
Don't you remember your old head coach Adam Gase?
I would take Adam Gase right now over Matt Nagy.
That's not good. That's not good. Buddy.
No, it's horrible. But
I'm giving you a virtual hug right now, buddy. Because if you're saying that, if you're saying you would take Adam Gase over Nagy, you're insane. Because Adam Gase has been nothing at all as a head coach except for insane.
Yeah, I agree. But Matt Nagy is the same damn head coach. Like Matt Nagy just.
So are you saying they shouldn't go after Eric Bieniemy then? Because your history of Kansas City coordinators becoming your head coach is not great.
I wouldn't mind Eric Bieniemy because at least Eric Bieniemy has shown over the last few seasons that he can do great things with Kansas City.
But so did Adam Gase. So did Adam Gase and Matt Nagy.
Matt Nagy did not show that. I completely disagree. Matt Nagy was a part of the
one
team
that turned Alex Smith's career around.
Matt Nagy is the one that was the offensive coordinator the year before he became the Chicago Bears head coach, which led the absolute collapse of the Kansas City Chiefs in that playoffs. Like the play calling was atrocious in that loss. They were horrendous in the playoffs. And Matt Nagy had taken away, that was more a year of Patrick Mahomes coming out than it was of Matt Nagy. Patrick Mahomes that year took Matt Nagy to bigger levels than what Matt Nagy is capable of doing. Eric Bieniemy has developed game plans, and Eric Bieniemy now, a team that started out 2-4, has turned this around, and now all of a sudden they're 7-4. Has turned this around and shown that he has the ability to make adjustments to show, hey, that when this is going wrong, I can adjust here and I can adjust there. And now all of a sudden we're going to be winning. Like that is the kind of guy that we want. Eric Bieniemy is a smart man. We haven't had a good head coach in Chicago since we fired freaking Lovie Smith after a winning season, by the way. After many winning seasons, by the way. Fired Lovie Smith and brought in Adam Gase. Or John Fox, sorry. And then Adam Gase. God.
The thing is, on the John Fox thing, if John Fox was available at that time, any team would have done anything.
John Fox was a good head coach. I like John Fox. The problem was Ryan Pace did not like John Fox, and Ryan Pace did a lot of shady stuff behind without telling John Fox. John Fox had no say in drafting Mitch Trubisky. He didn't even know he was getting drafted until he saw the notification come across his phone that the Bears drafted Mitch Trubisky, and that's a problem. That's a problem. I don't blame John Fox. As a matter of fact, the first year that Nagy was a head coach, they went 12-4. It went to the playoffs. That was a John Fox team. That was a John Fox team that was so damn good. That defense was ridiculous that year. Absolutely ridiculous. And it was just, that's where, to me, like I liked John Fox. I thought John Fox was just fine as a head coach. I didn't have a problem with John Fox at all. Adam Gase and Matt Nagy, I mean, those are just guys that, I mean, God, I give up. I don't know what to do, but I would definitely sit Justin Fields if I'm the Bears and he's out for 2 to 4 weeks.
Protect your investment. Protect that investment long term.
We talked about this a little bit earlier. The Cardinals improved to 9-2 with a win in Seattle without Hopkins or Murray. Is there a better team in the NFC?
No. Are there teams that can be just as dangerous? Yes, but there's no better team. My thing is with the Cardinals, this is the team that still has never been to a playoff as a team. You can be the best team. I just see them collapsing in the playoffs.
Didn't they make the playoffs last year?
No, they did not. They missed it.
Oh. Okay.
They controlled their own destiny. I think if they would have won in week 17, they would have been in, and they lost.
Okay.
And so I had said last year when everybody got on that Cardinal train, I said, don't get too hyped. This is still a team that's got to learn how to win. They've learned how to win now, but now you're winning in the playoffs is a whole different level. And you have an NFC team that has a whole lot of battle-tested teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem for them come playoff time. Are they the best team in the NFC? Yes, on paper they are. Come January, are they going to be the best team? Only on paper.
Well, let's look at playoff teams that they've played this year. We're safe to say Tennessee is probably a playoff team, right?
Right.
They beat them 38-13. Los Angeles Rams, safe to say they're going to be a playoff team this year.
The Rams, yeah.
So they beat them 37-20. Cleveland Browns are kind of hot and cold. They might be a wild card team, but for the sake of argument, let's call them a playoff team. They beat them 37-14. They did play the Green Bay Packers. They lost a close one, 24-21. So they've shown they can play and destroy some really good playoff teams and play really close with some of the better playoff teams. Like, to me, the Green Bay Packers are the second best team in the NFC. And they only lost to them by 3 points. And that was when Kyler Murray got hurt and DeAndre Hopkins got hurt too. And still only lost to that team by 3 points.
The Packers were playing with their fourth best receivers, their number one.
I agree. The Packers, that's why I think the Packers are the second best team. The Packers play very good football. All the way up until the NFC title game, they play very good football.
It's the NFC Championship game is the annual game played against the Green Bay Packers for the right to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I mean,
I still think
that's
it's
the
one of the
thing. So
greatest ever.
if the Cardinals go to the NFC title game against the Packers, the Cardinals are going to the Super Bowl.
That's not true because they're not making it to the NFC title game.
I said if they make the NFC title game to play the Packers, they're going to the Super Bowl.
I've already gone on record saying they're going to lose their first playoff game.
So they're going to get the first round bye and then lose the first playoff game.
Then lose their first playoff game. And there again,
at home.
Yeah.
God, I'm trying to go by the here. Let me pull up the standings here real quick and go by what it would be right now if we started. So right now, if we went with it, it would be the Arizona Cardinals would get the bye. The Packers would play the the Saints. The Cowboys would play the Vikings, and the Rams would play the Buccaneers. So probably the worst seed out of that would still be remaining. Yeah, I mean, if they stay the same, it would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Probably because the Buccaneers probably beat the Rams, and I never go against Tom Brady. But looking
the way this is shaping up, you actually probably don't want the 1 seed. You'd probably rather be the 2.
Yeah.
It
shapes up that way. I mean, you're confident against the Rams, right? The way you walked into their building and smacked them in the mouth and kissed their mama on the cheek, you're okay with playing the Rams.
Division opponent. Hard to beat. If say they beat the Rams again this year, hard to beat an opponent 3 times in a row.
And Rock says Vikings can beat both the Packers and the Cards. Well, they can definitely beat the Packers. They did it today.
Again, that's look at the way the Vikings win and lose football games. Everything's been by a field goal or less. Does not say quality football team to me.
And the Cardinals beat the Vikings earlier in the year. Granted, it was a 34-33 game, but they beat the Cardinals earlier in the year, or the Vikings earlier in the year. So, look, you can come out across something crazy like that. The Vikings aren't even going to be in the playoffs, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Right.
So I don't, man. And now that I say that, the Vikings actually might be in the playoffs this year because I don't think that the Saints are going to hang on. Rock says they are the best balanced team that's played.
You've not won a game by more than a field goal or lost a game by more than a field goal. So you do just enough to either win or just enough to lose. That does not scream playoff team. And the fact that Kirk Cousins likes to absolutely melt down towards
Well,
the end of the season.
they've won a game by more than a field goal. They beat the Seahawks 30-17 earlier in the year, and they've
Did
lost
they?
by
I
more
thought
than a field goal because they lost by 14-7 to the Browns. They beat the Panthers 34-28. But look, they play teams tough. Justin Jefferson can go off and do all sorts of things. Justin Jefferson is a special player. But, and I don't know how we got on the Vikings here, but Rock wants to go there, so we're going to go there. You're talking about Kirk Cousins having to play in a primetime game. And we know what happens to Kirk Cousins in primetime football games.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like to lose. You like to lose there, Kurt.
Yep. And that's just look, it is what it is. I mean, look, if you're a Vikings fan, Rock, look, good on you. I feel for you because I know what it's like to have high hopes for your team and then to watch them disappoint you year after year after year. As a Bears fan, I understand what that's like. But if you truly believe that the Minnesota Vikings can be one of the best teams in the NFC, then you're just not being honest with yourself.
Right.
You're just not.
No. Now,
and Dalvin Cook is special. Dalvin Cook is a special player. I agree with you, Rock, but your quarterback is going to hurt you.
Had they done what I said, and I thought like that was the Vikings were my dark horse team in on Deshaun Watson. I'm like, they could potentially flip Kirk Cousins and what he is owed over to the Texans because the Texans will take on any contract apparently. So.
But this is also a defense that has only allowed less than 20 points in a game twice this year. You can score on this Vikings defense, and when that comes playoff time, man, look, the Cardinals and the Packers, they're going to eat this team alive. The Rams will eat this team alive. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will eat this team alive. And Rock says, no way, I'm Ravens all day, baby. Well, yep, you had a nice little win today. Screw you and your Ravens. Just kidding. Just screw your Ravens. But no, I was all right with the loss today, to be honest with you, because one of my buddies said, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, the Red Rocket came in and saved the day right after he led the Bears to that game-winning drive. And I said, yeah, actually, he kind of screwed us over because we're not winning the Super Bowl. I'd like to lose out so we get a better draft pick. And then Huntley came back and helped me out there. So I like it. We're 3-8 now, 3-7, something like that. It's abysmal. Bears are bad. But getting back at it here, I don't want to talk about my Bears anymore. The Eagles beat the Saints. Are the Eagles poised to make a playoff run?
Yeah, not so much a playoff run. I think it's a little too late for them to make a playoff run. You don't think they can sneak in? Not at 9, like I said, they would have to get to 9-8, and so that's them winning because they won today. So they're 5-6. So they would have to go.
They're 6-5 now.
They're 6-5. So yeah, they would.
No, they're 5-6. Yeah, you're right. They're 5-6.
So they would have to go 4-3 the rest of the way out.
Well, right now they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th. And they've got the 49ers and the New Orleans Saints and the Minnesota Vikings ahead of them, all at 5-5, and they're 5-6.
And look at their schedule. Their schedule shapes up nice for them to go 9-8. However, I don't see them making the playoffs. I just don't.
Look, I think the Saints are going to fall out of there. I think the Vikings will fall out of there. And I think the San Francisco 49ers are very capable of falling out. You could find the Philadelphia Eagles as a 6th seed in this conference.
I'm not saying you couldn't do it. I just don't see it happening. I look at San Francisco, and there again, I look at another football team that struggled mightily at the beginning of this year that is now finding itself and becoming a better football team as the season goes on. And we had said it before that the NFC West and the AFC West, probably the two best divisions in football. I had the Niners as the 4th best team in that division. I think I had them going like 11-6 or I believe.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it. Look, the Eagles are gonna be in the playoffs this year. The Eagles are gonna be in the playoffs. The San Francisco 49ers are probably their only competition. I don't think the Vikings will sustain it. The Vikings' remaining schedule is the 49ers, the Lions, the Steelers, the Bears, the Rams, the Packers, and the Bears again. They probably split with the Bears. They probably, I'd hate to say they lose to the Niners, but the Niners are starting to play better football. And the Steelers are just that team that every week we don't know who's going to show up. So
you literally don't know what Steelers team's going to show up.
Yeah, and so I'm not a big believer in what the Vikings are doing. I think that the Niners and I think that the Eagles are the two teams that are probably going to sneak in as your 6 and 7 seeds. Basically, let's say this. Let's say it comes down to next week, right? So if the Vikings beat the 49ers,
right,
the Vikings are probably going to be your 6 or 7 seed. But then it's going to be between the Niners and the Eagles. Who do you trust more?
At this point, the way that they're playing, I would trust the Eagles a little bit more. But Jimmy G's got the experience. So I'm going to go.
But Jimmy G's also got the knack for disappearing when it counts.
Does that as well.
So
I just, although I mean, they're getting. He's only 2 years removed from leading them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with my gut. My gut says Jimmy G. And the Niners, give me Jimmy G and the Niners over the Eagles. Again, that is a very young Eagles team that is going to be up and down. You know, just looking at their schedule, it's like I said, that's where I think that they could be 9-8 because I think they played the Giants twice yet. They have to play, like the only tough team really that they have left is Dallas in Week 18.
Drew says they beat the Packers twice. I'm happy. Who beat the Packers twice? Nobody's beating the Packers twice.
He's asking he's saying if the Vikings beat the Packers twice.
Oh, if they beat the Packers, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's possible. I mean, but not probable. I would think. I mean, look, it's the NFC North. I never pick anybody to sweep the NFC North. I always pick 1-1. So you right off the bat, nobody in the NFC North will ever have less than 4 losses or 3 losses. I should say.
But the thing is, though, is you can't really say that Matt Nagy's only got 2 losses since he's been coaching the Packers inside the division. Both of them to the Vikings, once last year and once then this year.
No, they lost to the Packers twice last year, didn't they? The Bears didn't beat the Packers twice. You're saying Matt Nagy only has 2 wins inside the division?
No, Matt LaFleur.
Oh, Matt
has
LaFleur
only lost 2 divisional games since he's been the head coach.
Yeah, I'm just saying I just don't pick it because these teams are just always. I mean, it's a black and blue division. These teams just beat the snot out of each other when they play each other.
Usually they do.
I mean, the Packers have won. I think the last four meetings against the Bears. I don't think they've scored more than like 17 points in any of those meetings. So it's just one of those divisions where they always, they play each other tough. So I just always pick, a split for all of them. I don't think the Vikings are going to beat them twice. It's going to be interesting. Let's take a break and we'll come back and we're going to talk about this division. We're going to talk a little bit about the Green Bay Packers. So we'll be right back. Give us 2 minutes. we are back just in time because I was just screaming at my TV as the Blackhawks had a wide open net and Patrick Kane missed the damn net. Oh, anyway. So let's get back into it here. I said we want to talk a little bit of Green Bay Packers. Tori, as we get into it here, I got to ask you a question, man. How much is your Green Bay Packers share worth?
The original one that I have is 250.
So did you see the ESPN piece on the worth of the Green Bay Packers shares?
It's face value, no matter what. So if I wanted to sell it back, I get $250.
So from what I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I saw in that piece was that if the team always has the right to buy back the share from their shareholders for $2.50 a share. And that's what I saw in the thing, and that the actual share is actually worthless because there's no value on the share. There is no, like, you don't have any say in any of like the team, going on. You don't have any say in any, like, there's nothing. There is no worth to a Green Bay Packers share.
Other than saying you're an owner, pretty much. I mean, it's not like you could go to the owners meeting that is just Lambeau Field stuffed full of people cheering and getting the financial report. But do
you get any? You don't get a dividend, though, right? They don't pay you out a dividend every year.
No.
So what is the point of the share?
Because they're the only publicly owned team in all the NFL.
But stock doesn't rise. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know much about stocks, but like I know that when people invest in them, they expect them to rise, and then they sell when they think it's so
they don't. Peak. Yeah, but they literally, it's just all it is. It's another revenue stream for the Packers that they do. So like when they upgraded Lambeau Field, most of that was done off of the stock sale. And then when they had the 0.5, sales tax added on, which barely passed, it went past like 51 to 49% here. Like it was pretty contested. Like they didn't want the 0.5% going. Like why? You're an NFL team.
Yeah, I saw the piece and I immediately thought of you as I was watching the piece. I was actually at forget where I was when I was watching the piece. It might have been here at home. But I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, the Packers, it's got no value. It's like, what is the point of having an investment in something that you don't get a return on investment? You know what I mean? So other than just saying, hey, look, I'm a 150,000th owner of the Green Bay Packers.
That's literally it. So next year when Ryan Pace is still the GM and you become a Packer fan, and I say, hey, I want to sell you my stock, I could only sell it to you for $250.
So has this ever worked for you in the bar? Have you ever gone out to a woman and she's like, what do you do? And be like, well, I'm part owner of the Green Bay Packers.
No.
It's never worked. Have you ever tried it?
You can't do
Why
that.
Can't you? What do you mean?
You can't do that in Wisconsin because our women here know more about football than most people.
You don't just go to Wisconsin, though. You travel.
Well, I do, but no, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, why not? What the hell's wrong with you? Now you can't do it because ESPN just ruined it for everybody and told the whole world that it's worthless. But now it could be like, hey, I'm a part owner of the Green Bay Packers.
I don't need to talk like that. I'm sexy enough the way it is.
And so now we're going to continue the show without Tori after he just been said in man-hour history, the worst take than any of Bucks takes. Oh, man.
I said that in Costco today. I said, Jess goes, hey, do you want to get some of these protein shakes? I said, no, because I'll get too sexy. I'm already sexy enough. And I can't believe that the girl handing out samples at the Costco counter held it together for much more than the 2 seconds I said it.
Ugh.
Because also she just bust out laugh after I said that.
So we've got some stuff going on over here in the chat. Can the Lions beat the Bears? Says One Pride. Especially if Andy Dalton is out. I'm sorry, if Justin Fields is out for Thursday, they can absolutely beat the Chicago Bears. Man, I hate saying that with any, because look, I get it. You're probably a Lions here, judging by the name is One Pride. I don't ever want to bet on the Detroit Lions to win a game. And I said a couple weeks ago that if they were going to win a game, it would have been against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I was way wrong on that one. Then I thought, well, if they're going to win a game, it's going to be against the Cleveland Browns, who don't know when to show up. And I was wrong again today. This defense of the Bears could absolutely positively just shut you down and make you wonder what is going on. But without Justin Fields, I saw the way that I saw the way that Andy Dalton played today. It doesn't give me any hope that Andy Dalton can do the right thing. But look, the other thing is that I'm hoping for a better draft pick, and if anybody can screw that up, it's Andy Dalton and the Bears, right? Anybody can. They're gonna find a way to finish this season at 8-9 and be the 11th pick in the draft instead of having the 3rd or 4th pick, right? That's just how it goes. And Rock comes out and says the Lions can get to Dalton, but he gets clutch if given time. He has seen a lot. He says the Bears' offensive line, like the Ravens, are not good at protecting quarterbacks and 5 or 7 step drop. Yeah, and you know what else, Rock? Our head coach is not good at realizing that they can't protect a 5 or 7 step drop. So that's all he calls for plays is 5 and 7 step drops. One Pride says Dalton is not clutch. LMAO, I agree with you there, One Pride. He is not clutch, but neither are the Lions. The Detroit Lions are just they're just not good. They've had some heartbreaking losses. Don't get me wrong. They've had some heartbreaking losses, but that's kind of what the Lions do. They find a way. There's teams where we talk about the New England Patriots, we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, we talk about the Los Angeles Rams. They find ways to win games. The Detroit Lions find ways to lose games. Not in an Atlanta kind of way.
Yeah,
nobody really does that in an Atlanta kind of way. They're kind of in a league of their own.
Nobody does that in the Atlanta kind of way because Atlanta just invents that way.
Yeah, I don't. I don't want to say that the Detroit Lions are going to get their first win on Thanksgiving, but their best chance to get a win is on Thanksgiving. I mean, if Justin Fields is out with the ribs and Andy Dalton is in there, they'll probably win this game. It's probably going to be an ugly one too. I mean, we're all going to be ready for dinner after this one because it's going to be like a 9-6 game. It's going to be horrendous. So yeah, can they do it? Sure. Would I bet on them to do it? No. But would I bet on the Bears to win the game? No. So take that for what it is there, One Pride. But getting back into where, we talked about the Packers and how much a share is worth. The Bengals beat down the Raiders and the Lions lose to Cleveland. So One Pride, this one's for you here. Tori, which fan base do you feel more sorry for? Raider Nation or the Lions Den?
The Lions Den. Every day of the week. Like, the Lions fans have been dealt such crap hands for so long. Cleveland has seen more success than they have. Even when they had the greatest running back, in my opinion, of all time, in Barry Sanders, they still
I agree with you.
They were decent. They went to an NFC Championship game, but they never built anything much around him. He never had a quarterback, really. I mean, he got Eric Kramer, he got Scott Mitchell, who each had like one good year with them. Yep. They had originally picked Andre Ware, in 1990 who, when he was at Houston, was supposed to be the next big thing, and he flamed out of the league. The best quarterback he had was probably Rodney Peete. So I actually feel worse for the Lions fan base. One, because they've suffered for so long. Two, because Raiders fans are kind of assholes. So
Look,
I really don't. So I really don't have a lot of love lost for them, for the Raider fan, because they still live by the 80s mantra of, just win, baby. Like Al Davis is still alive and this is still the 80s and they can do steroids and drugs and whatever else to make themselves a good football team.
Yeah.
But yeah, give me the Lions fans all day long. I secretly pull for the Lions to win. I really hope that they actually become a good football team someday.
Yeah.
Because I really do. That fan base deserves to be shown what it feels like to feel good for like a year.
Yeah. And there's one fan base I've always said that no matter what, I never wanted to win. And that's the LA fan base, right? And I know they're in Vegas now, but the Raiders are an LA team. So that is just one team that I will never I don't care about their fan base. I think their fan base are a bunch of idiots anyway. And I don't care if they go 0-16 for the next 40 years. They deserve it. Lions fans, man, they're a good fan base. They're a very good fan base, and they love their Lions. The Detroit fan base in general, I mean, Tigers fan, I feel bad for you all the way around. The Tigers, the Pistons, like at least you had the Pistons in the 80s. I'll give you that.
I was gonna say at least the Pistons won a couple of titles recently.
Yeah, so. I mean, and then you had a good run later on, in the early 2000s as well. But and you had the Red Wings too, so I'll give you that.
Nah. I'm sorry, Buck. You're gonna have to edit this. Fuck the Red Wings. Fuck them hard every single day.
I'm with you. As a hockey fan in Chicago, I grew up on two words, and that was Detroit sucks. But I genuinely feel for Lions fans because they do deserve better. They do deserve a winner. Their organization just has no clue how to do that for them. They just don't. They get these pieces and they don't build around them. They get these pieces and they get stuck there for year after year after year until they decide they just would rather retire than to continue on playing their sport in Detroit. I just saw a picture the other day of the Detroit Tigers pitching staff from about 10 years ago, right? They had Justin Verlander, they had Max Scherzer, they had Anibal Sanchez, and they had there was another guy there. And all five of those starters have now won a World Series.
Ricky Porcello.
Yeah. And all five of those guys have now won a World Series. And none of them were in Detroit. I genuinely feel for the Detroit fan base. I do. I feel so bad for what they've had to endure. The fact that they never were good enough to win a Super Bowl with Barry Sanders. The fact that ever since Barry Sanders left, I mean, they wasted Megatron's career. They wasted Matt Stafford's career. They constantly waste careers, and that's just what the Detroit Lions do. So for me, I feel worse for the Detroit Lions fan base than I do for any other fan base in professional sports. I really do.
So one pride brings this up. So you got to think of or do you think that the Lions should have taken Fields instead of Sewell? I don't think so. I think they made the right pick. Honestly, because I do. Because if you have a solid offensive line, and this is why part of the reason that I thought Goff would be okay. If you have a solid offensive line, a mediocre quarterback can make your team look good if he's got all the time in the world to throw.
Wow. I highly disagree with you there. Highly disagree because you went from Matt Stafford and you just went and got Jared Goff. You could have had Justin Fields. They still have a really good offensive line even without Penei Sewell. Even without Penei Sewell, they have a good offensive line. If you put Justin Fields behind a good offensive line, you get him a weapon at running back and you get him a couple weapons on the outside. Instead, what did you do? You brought in Penei Sewell to protect Jared Goff with no weapons around him. And Jared Goff with no weapons around him is the worst quarterback in the NFL.
The thing is, he's got DeAndre Swift. He's got Jamal Williams, who's been hurt. their wide receiver core has been ravaged by injuries
Yes.
this year. Like their
But
number one receiver was started off the season as like their number 5.
Well, their number one receiver with Jared Goff throwing to them is just as good as any number 3 wide receiver in the league because Jared Goff is throwing to them. Now imagine if that was Justin Fields. Imagine if you had a guy for the next 10 to 15 years that you could build around, which I'm not confident that the Detroit Lions could build around him. I'll give you that. I'm not confident that they could do the right thing and find a way to win with a guy like
next
that.
Year's draft, they will probably take a quarterback next year.
But what quarterback are you getting out of this draft? I mean, this is probably the worst quarterback draft class in a very long time.
It depends. Have you seen what Pickett's been doing at Pitt?
I know it's on your mind. I have seen what Pickett's doing there. Man, as much as I wasn't a believer in Trevor Lawrence coming in to be the greatest quarterback that you've ever seen play in the National Football League, I'm not a believer in Pickett translating his game from Pitt to the NFL. I don't think his game translates.
So say Pickett ends up in Detroit. Hypothetically, he has a great chance to succeed there because now
he's got very good arm talent.
And he doesn't got to worry about being on his backside 3 seconds after the ball snap because he has a good offensive line.
He makes good reads. I'll give him that. And he's got arm talent. What are you going to put around him? You've got to go out. Look, I know you talk about their wide receiver core, but they've got to go out and do something else with that wide receiver core. Because even with the wide receiver core that they've got, I mean, they need a
bottom
legit
5 number 1.
If you put their receiving core in against the rest of the league, do you rank them any higher than 25?
No.
I wouldn't. They've got to go out there and they've got to find another wide receiver. They've got to find a complimentary back to DeAndre Swift as well. This is a 2-back league now.
Jamal Williams is, but Jamal Williams has been hurt. He's got that bruised thigh, whatever the heck's going on. I keep waiting for him to play because he's still sitting on my bench too, hurt.
That's my entire roster.
Jamal Williams, for the last 4 years in Green Bay was a great backup. Like he could come in and take over that role. He's a great complementary back, and he picks up blitz as well. They have a good running back. He's just got to get healthy at this point.
TJ Hawkinson and Amon-Ra.
I do like TJ. Amon-Ra St. Brown has potential. Quintez Cephas has potential, but neither one of them are going to develop into legitimate number 1 receivers. They are more the role for a number 2 or a number 3. Here's the problem,
I just said TJ Hawkinson and Amon-Ra, and I thought you were talking about quarterbacks coming out of this year's draft class. That's how little anybody knows TJ Hawkinson and Amon-Ra. You just don't. These are not everyday names. These are not guys. I thought you were naming
TJ Hawkinson's the top 5 tight end in the league.
I legitimately thought he was talking about some quarterbacks coming out of college. I had no clue who he was talking about. I'm not. I swear to God, 100. Hey, I swear to you, I did not know. I thought he was talking about quarterbacks.
So Rack comes in and says Pickett staying at Pittsburgh, bro. Not a chance. Not a chance in hell he stays. I could see if you were playing in Alabama or somewhere else, but your draft status is not going to get any higher than the number 1 overall pick. And that's already being discussed that he could be in the number 1 overall pick. You are not staying at Pitt unless you are so dead set against playing again for that organization.
And then Rock comes out and says if the Steelers let him out of Pennsylvania, it'll be a shame with an aging Big Ben. The problem is the Steelers won't be in position to take him because the Steelers are going to be a playoff team. They're going to be picking, somewhere around 14 or 15. They're not going to be picking, actually, I think if you're a playoff team, you pick in the 20s, right? So you're not going to be in a position where you can take
Pickett's going to come out and Pickett will be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You are not unless you are trading up and giving up whatever.
But see, Pickett to me is Mac Jones, right? Pickett to me is a guy who has to go to the right situation. And are you sure that Detroit is the right situation?
Honestly, yes. I like Dan Campbell as a coach. I think Dan Campbell is good. Dan Campbell has the I don't care attitude.
You know who's going to pick Pickett? The New York Jets. The New York Jets are going to take Pickett, and they're going to trade Zach Wilson. Because that's what the New York Jets do, right?
And plus, that would just make my premonition come to fruition a year earlier than what I said.
Are you still a big believer? I don't even know if you were a believer. I was a big believer in Robert Saleh. I think Robert Saleh can still do good things at the Jets.
I think
do you still think that?
I do. I think the Jets actually have a good young roster. It's going to take time. They have a good young roster of a bunch of people you never heard of. But in 2 years from now, you're going to know from. And so I got into it with a Jets fan. And this was that game where in his first 5 attempts, he threw 4 interceptions with Zach Wilson. And I said, look, I'm not saying the Jets are a terrible football team. The Jets are a young team. I am saying that. I said, but if you want to go anywhere, it's going to be with somebody other than Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's not the guy that's going to lead you to the promised land. You need somebody else. You're developing a good young roster. You have a good head coach. You need a different quarterback.
I disagree. I look, I know you don't like Zach Wilson. I know you didn't like Zach Wilson coming out of the draft. Not that you don't like him as a person, but you don't like his game.
I don't like
the way he translated in the NFL. And I had Zach Wilson as the number 1 quarterback coming out of the draft. I thought he was the best prospect in the draft. And I just feel like the New York Jets just aren't ready yet just because of the roster that's around them. Yes, they went out and got Robert Saleh. Yes, they went out and drafted Zach Wilson, right? But that's not enough. You have to have an offensive line. You have to have a better wide receiver core than Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, and Jamison Crowder. You have to have a better running backs than Michael Carter, Ty Johnson, and LaMichael Perrine. Like, you've got to give more weapons than what you've given him to honestly see what you've got in Zach Wilson. You've got to be able to allow the guy time to throw, and then you've got to allow him the weapons to throw too before you can determine. Now, we talked about this, and I got in an argument about this on Facebook because Soup Boss actually posted in Sports Soup. He had said something like Mac Jones is the best quarterback to come out of this draft class, and then it's everybody else. And everybody else is at number 5. They said rate the top 5 draft, the quarterbacks out of this year's draft class. And I said, well, hold your horses now, because Mac Jones, yes, while he might have the best record out of anybody to come out of this draft class, has also played with the New England football team who's got a top 5 defense, and they haven't really played a really tough schedule just yet. And that's where I'm intrigued to see the draft, or I'm sorry, the next 4 weeks to see how Mac Jones performs in these weeks, because these are 4 teams, 4 wins that he absolutely needs to have if he's the real deal. And if not, if they go 1-3 or 2-2 in these games, people are going to be talking about, well, maybe we were a little bit too fast to jump on the Mac Jones bandwagon. Maybe, he did beat the Jets twice, and he did beat the Texans, and he did beat, these teams that are just not very good football teams. And maybe he did take advantage of that. But if he goes 3-1 in those weeks, or possibly even 4-0 in those weeks, then you have to have the real conversation. But we haven't seen enough from Zach Wilson or from Justin Fields with the stuff around them to actually make an honest prediction as to, hey, who's the best quarterback out of this draft class? Can you say who had the best year? Sure, absolutely. And by far, it's Mac Jones right now, right? I mean, nobody's even close to what Mac Jones is doing right now. But he's also doing that with the New England Patriots, with Bill Belichick, with a very good, stout defense. So I like what I'm seeing from Mac Jones, but I'm not just yet ready to crown him the next Tom Brady.
I would agree 100% with that assessment of Mac Jones. Although I'm seeing it like, I love Zach Wilson. Jets might, but you're fooling yourself. So, and again, I've alluded to this already before. Look when Zach Wilson was quarterbacking the Jets compared to like a Mike White. You did not see the teammates rallying around Zach Wilson like you did with a Mike White. Mike White would throw an interception. There was everybody and their brother around him. Zach Wilson, there was nobody around him. He does something great. His teammates are all there, all around him. Like,
is that something that maybe shows that he needs to work on leadership? Maybe he's not a leader in the clubhouse.
Or maybe his ego is,
maybe he's tough to be around when he's not performing.
Right.
Well.
And it could be that too. Maybe he's, and this is where I said I don't think his game translates because I never thought he would be mentally tough enough. I said I don't think he has the fire. He does not have the fire to be an NFL quarterback. I had said that since February.
Yeah. And then Justin Fields, you have to throw his season out the window, right? With his season under Matt Nagy, you have to throw that out the window. I mean, he does things that you can watch on the field. If you watch the Bears, like I watch the Bears, if you watch the games and if you see the things that he's doing, is he throwing for 300 plus yards? No. Is he scoring 30 plus points a game? Also no. Is he scoring 20 plus points a game? No. But the spots that he's putting the footballs in, the way that the completions that he's making, the way that he's driving, the way that he's being a leader on the field, the way that he's reading progressions, the way that he's doing these things are what you want to see out of your rookie quarterback. So while he's not going to have the win percentage, while he's not going to have the flashy numbers because of the system that he's in, he's also not quite there yet because he's not in the situation that Mac Jones is in. I think if you put Justin Fields with the New England Patriots, I think it's a different story. I think if you put Zach Wilson in with the New England Patriots, it's a different story. As a matter of fact, I think if you put Trey Lance in with the New England Patriots, it's a different story because of the situation you went to. You went into a spot with one of the greatest head coaches of all time, with one of the most renowned offensive coordinators of all time. And you're performing at a level where you've gone out and you've beat the Jets twice. You lost to the Dolphins, and you lost to the Saints, and you lost to the Buccaneers. You beat the Texans, and then you lost to the Cowboys. So at that point right there, you were 2-4, okay? And since then, you've won 5 straight, but you've beat the Jets. Good win against the Chargers. You beat the Panthers, you beat the Browns, and you beat the Falcons. To me, it's not there yet. To me, I haven't seen enough from Mac Jones to sit there and say, wow, what he's doing is really, really impressive. Because I would look at this schedule just like I look at anybody else's schedule and be like, yeah, that's not really that impressive. When you look at what Mac Jones has done, and then you look at the quality of opponents that he's playing. Now you look at Justin Fields and what he's done. We'll say he started week 3 against the Browns. We all know what happened there. Then he beat the Lions. Then he played the Raiders, the Packers, the Buccaneers, the 49ers, the Steelers, and the Ravens. I mean, that's a gauntlet. That's a lot better, stiffer competition, a lot better defenses than what Mac Jones has seen just far, with a lot worse head coach and a lot worse offensive coordinator. So
I just GM in the league.
Stop it. I'm just saying that you have to pause and you have to look at the situation as a whole, and you can't just go out there. Get out of here, One Pride. You just want to see it because you're a Lions fan. You've got to look at the product as a whole, and you have to say, you know what? Yes, he's in a better situation, so yes, he's having a better season. But let's at least wait till after the rookie deals are up before we say, hey, out of this draft class, who is the better quarterback? I mean, you can say 1 year, but again, only one of those quarterbacks is in a really good situation. And so he's having the best year.
I mean, I kind of agree, but not really, because after watching Ryan Leaf for 1 year in San Diego, you knew he was going to be a bust. He was clearly not going to be a good quarterback.
Yeah, but you know what? A lot of people could have said the same thing about Peyton Manning after his first year.
Yeah, but Peyton actually showed flashes of, okay, this guy could be really good. Ryan Leaf just showed none of that, except for
that's true.
because he had mental meltdowns every time he threw an interception.
Yeah. And the worst part about it for a guy like Justin Fields is because he's got that stigma. Like, Luke G will come on Tuesday. So one pride, if you're ever, I think you actually came because of Luke G. But Luke G, being a Lions fan, likes to say, "Oh, well, the Bears drafted Justin Fields, and he's a Ohio State quarterback, and name me a good quarterback out of Ohio State." Well, okay. And then my comeback is always, "Well, name me the college that is considered quarterback U." Because there's a lot of colleges that have never had a good quarterback until one comes out of that college. You know what I mean? Like you look at Patrick Mahomes. Where did Patrick Mahomes go to college?
Texas Tech.
All right. So name me another Texas Tech quarterback that's as good as Patrick Mahomes.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
In college he was.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. In the NFL, name me one a Texas Tech quarterback that was as good as Patrick Mahomes in the NFL. Mahomes was a losing quarterback in college. He had a losing record in college at Texas Tech. And then you look at Dak Prescott. Where did Dak Prescott go to college?
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. Name me another great quarterback that came out of Mississippi State.
Me.
Yeah. So that's my point, is that you can't sit there and say a guy came out of this college, so he can't be good because he's a product of this college. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like that's I mean, you look at Tony Romo came out of Northern Illinois, didn't he?
Yep.
Name me one quarterback that came out of Northern Illinois.
Eastern
Illinois. Name me one quarterback that came out of Eastern Illinois other than Tony Romo. I mean, it's
Josh Jones.
Yeah, you can't point. Look, freaking Brady came out of Michigan, who couldn't start at Michigan because he couldn't get ahead of Drew Henne. He couldn't start ahead of Drew Henson. Sorry, and yet now he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Name me another really great Michigan quarterback. You might be able to name one, maybe two, because Michigan's got a renowned. Joe Montana, great quarterback out of Notre Dame. I don't know very many Notre Dame quarterbacks that produced that were great like Joe Montana. So we can't go into the this guy came out of this college. And
so Mariota was good at Oregon. Joey Harrington was good at Oregon. Akili Smith was good at Oregon.
But how were they in the NFL? Who was a good quarterback, Oregon quarterback before Herbert, but in the NFL, who was a good quarterback after they left Oregon? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about they can't be good in the NFL because they came out of that program. That's what I'm saying. Like you can't rate quarterbacks just because of where they come from. Justin Fields, if you look at Justin Fields, you watch the guy grow game after game after game. You watch some of the spots that he puts these passes. And that's something that Bears fans, we've never seen. We've never seen, even when we had Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler was a good quarterback. He threw a lot of interceptions, but Jay Cutler was a good quarterback. I mean, you know all about good quarterbacks that throws a lot of interceptions, right, Tori? So you can still be a good quarterback and throw a lot of interceptions.
That record.
But we've never had a quarterback that can put the ball in a spot the way that this kid can. We've never had a quarterback that reads checkdowns the way this guy does. He reads progressions. He's a very intelligent quarterback, and he's going to be good as long as we could put the pieces in place. But anyway, that's just, my rant for the day. I know we got off of our little, rundown here just a little bit tonight.
It happens.
So the Giants play the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. I know who's playing tonight. I've been watching the Blackhawks game in the background. Who's playing in the Sunday night game? Steelers and
Chargers.
I'm checking right. Yeah, Steelers and Chargers. Chargers lead 17-10 at halftime. So, or maybe it is halftime. So 17-10 Chargers at halftime. But tomorrow night we've got the Giants and the Buccaneers. How can the Giants win this game, Tori?
The entire Buccaneers team gets COVID and can't play. I mean,
look, crazy things have been happening though in the NFL.
this is true, but the Giants have not taken the step forward and not taken we're a better team now. And like they have looked the exact same all year. Nothing has changed, which means that you can tell exactly who Joe Judge is, and he's from the Bill Belichick disciple tree because everything is just kind of the same and trust that system.
Then we got Everyday Wars for Everyday Warriors. Says Ryan Pace is the GM of the year. Get out of here with that nonsense. Is that your cousin, Tori?
What?
Is that your other YouTube name?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, it's got to be a Tori. It's got to be his cousin or his mom or something who's watching the.
Man, my mom doesn't even know how to turn a computer on.
Why does everyone hate Jim McMahon? Rock.
I don't. I love Jim McMahon.
Nobody hates Jim McMahon. Everybody loves Jim McMahon, especially here in Chicago. But I will tell you that Jim McMahon is probably the second worst quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. He was not very good. He was a product of playing behind the monsters of the Midway. He was a product of having, one of the three greatest running backs of all time in his backfield, a very good offensive line. He was not a very good quarterback.
So who is the worst quarterback to win a Super Bowl?
Come on, man. Trent Dilfer.
Really?
Yes. Come on. Name me a worst quarterback I can name you a worst quarterback that has gone to a Super Bowl.
No, I can.
And he was also a Bear.
Doug Williams.
Doug Williams was the MVP of that Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that was the only good year he ever had.
Yeah, but still had a good year. It was still good. I don't. He's probably up there. I wouldn't say
Mark Rippon.
Yeah. God. I don't think there was a worse quarterback to go to a Super Bowl than Rex Grossman.
No.
Yeah, I mean Rex Grossman led the Bears. Yeah, the Bears won 4 games that year without an offensive touchdown.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That was
Rex
a whole lot of
that. Terrible.
A whole lot of a great defense and Devin Hester.
Yes, absolutely, 110%. Rex Grossman's the worst quarterback to ever go to one. Trent Dilfer is the worst quarterback to ever win one.
See, I don't know. I might even throw Brad Johnson in that category.
Did Brad Johnson win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, he won it with Tampa Bay.
Oh, when they beat the Raiders, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Brad Johnson's in that category. God, Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, Jim McMahon. I guess you could probably go 1A, 1B, 1C there, maybe. I guess it's all up there. But all right. That is all the time that we have for tonight, Man Hour Nation. It is Sunday night. You guys enjoy your night. Enjoy the rest of the football game. I'm going to go enjoy the third period of the hockey game. We've got more coming at you tomorrow. Tori, are you with us tomorrow?
Not that I know of. Maybe. I don't know.
I might be solo then. Buck is gone all week. He left to go visit family in Kansas for his for Thanksgiving week. Wyatt is in Florida. He doesn't answer messages anymore. And then Tori is on part-time status. Soup Boss is Soup Boss.
Part-time status.
Yeah, I would love to yell at Soup Boss for a day, but we'll get into it. I might be solo tomorrow night, but that's all right too. All right,
for sure. I know I can't do Tuesday and Wednesday. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Well, Tori, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night. If not, Man Hour Nation, rise up.